Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Source Material. My name is Jesse Starcher. Tonight we are discussing. This is tied for the most issues that we have covered in one span on Source Material. Just to let you guys know, we have a returning guest who was actually on the aforementioned first 14-parter that we did right here on Source Material. Well, let's go ahead. I want to run down the guests that have joined me. As always, my good buddy Ronnie Adams from the Screaming Boy podcast. Sir, how you doing this evening?
What's up? I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, I'm ready to talk some Planet Hulk tonight. This is my first journey, like I said, into this storyline, so I can't wait to discuss it with you guys and tell our listeners all about it. Mark Radulich bringing the tunes as always, and we're touching on one of your favorite superheroes in the Marvel Universe, the Incredible Hulk. Mark Radulich, you ready to talk about Planet Hulk?
Yep, this has the dubious honor of being one of the few arcs I've read more than once. I had this on my Kindle. I went out and rebought it as a paper trade. Planet Hulk is a story arc that has somehow been inserted into the new Thor Ragnarok movie. That's why I suggested it to Jesse Starcher. So I'm excited to talk about this. It really, people seem to think that like if the Hulk was ever going to have his own solo movie again, like this should be what it is. And I tend to differ. I think there are some other Hulk storylines that you could make into movies like The Spy Who Smashed Me, as I told you guys about. Mm-hmm. But it is one of the most popular Hulk stories ever. It's beloved. I told somebody at work about it today, and even she, who is not a comic book person, was like, hell yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, returning guest, one of the men that got me into podcasting, his name is Jason Teasley. And Teasley, do you remember the 14-part story arc that me and you discussed a long, long time ago?
How can I forget Maximum Carnage? It's my favorite story arc of all time.
That's right. That's right.
Me, you, and Benjamin J. Cologne.
That's right. We sat down and discussed all about Venom, Carnage, Spider-Man, and that whole gang of Marvel superheroes that came together to try and thwart Carnage. That was a lot of fun. Are you ready to talk about Incredible Hulk, though, tonight?
I'm about as prepared as anyone could be in an hour and a half.
That's good. That's good. Well, the good thing is I don't have to do a whole lot tonight other than, read from my synopsis that I created. I'm putting that in quotes because I stole a lot. Like I said, started in April of 2006, ran, I think, until June of 2007. Like I said, 14 parts. So I'm going to do the synopsis. I think we got Teasley coming in with the talking point at the end of the first synopsis. I'm going to basically talk about the first 4 issues. Teasley hops in, then I'll do the next 4 issues, and I believe it's Ronnie's turn, and then next 4 issues, Mark's turn, and then we'll talk about the 2-part ending. And we can rock it right through this because my synopsis shouldn't take too long. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's get it on. All right.
Sure.
All right, let's talk about the creative team first. All right, we got the writer, guy by the name of Greg Pak. Greg Pak or Pak, however you want to say it there. All right, he's been in the comic book business for a little bit. 2006 was not too long after he actually got started. He was apparently writing for Marvel in 2004, signed an exclusive deal with them in July of 2005. He's wrote titles such as Warlock, Iron Man, the aforementioned, and the aftermentioned Incredible Hulk. So he's got his hands. It's fun to read this as it is an early work of his. He did a tremendous job. And we have the artist on these issues, a guy by the name of Carlo Paglian. Okay, he's Filipino. Not too much on the wiki for him. I'm just going to read there's like 2 sentences here. He began his career in the comics business with a 3-page sequential Dark Horse for Dark Horse Comics, written by Doug Petrie to aid the victims of the 9/11 attacks. And as a tribute to the fallen World Trade Center Twin Towers, he has since had assignments from a few publishers, including Elektra and the Incredible Hulk. So it doesn't sound like he did a whole lot. As a matter of fact, his bibliography is pretty small when you look at it. So maybe they say he has a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering, so maybe he found a better job somewhere. You never know. But there you go. So there's our creative team coming in here to Planet Hulk. Now, Planet Hulk starts out, this is shortly after Civil War, isn't it, Ronnie?
Is it after Civil War? No, it's before.
Or is it during? Before?
before.
Okay. All right.
Because Civil War happened while
he was off
Hulk
planet.
was away. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the Illuminati, and I'm going to try my best. I'm going right off my memory here. Who the Illuminati? That is not the actual Illuminati that's going through your brains right now with the triangle in the eye. No, there was not a team, but a group of Marvel mainstays who were known as the Illuminati, and that was okay.
So it was Iron Man, Reed Richards, Professor X, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Black Bolt, I think was in there.
Black Bolt was definitely in there.
Yeah, he was in there. Yeah, and am I missing anybody, Mark?
Nope, I believe that was everybody.
Yeah, Black Bolt was. Yeah, he rounded everybody. Oh, Namor.
Yeah. Okay, so the Illuminati get together and they come up with a plan because the Hulk has been a destructive force on the Earth for quite a while. And their plan is to get Hulk, lure him onto a ship, and shoot that ship straight into outer space and get Incredible Hulk off of the planet. They're tired of having to deal with the mess that he causes. And their intent was to send him to a uninhabited planet. And if anybody knows much about the Incredible Hulk, the only thing he wants is to be left alone. So that was their way of attempting to fulfill his wish. And of course, benefiting the fact that they don't have to worry about cleaning up his mess after he goes on a rampage somewhere. Well, sending him out into space, the intent to get him to that planet is derailed by a wormhole.
He's knocked out. He wakes up. The message plays. He goes fucking crazy and starts tearing apart the ship. That causes the ship to go off course, and it goes through the wormhole.
So the wormhole grabs a ship, takes him through. The ship ends up crash landing onto an inhabited planet by the name of Sakaar. When he lands on Sakaar, he's actually in a weakened state. The inhabitants find him. There's this empire, and the subjects of this empire find him and actually sell the Hulk into slavery.
Without getting into all of like the various like personalities of Banner and all this other stuff, what you need to understand is the Hulk has been fairly intelligent for years now. He was able to participate in the Avengers and the Defenders, and he's gone to the microverse. This iteration of the Hulk, well, again, he's not the Professor, he's not Doc Green, and he's not that dog in the background. He's still intelligent enough to make his own decisions. And again, the Hulk kind of takes, what do you call it? In the new Ragnarok movie, I was reading an article where Mark Ruffalo said it was like, it used to be the Hulk and Banner both had their hands on the steering wheel. Now it's kind of like the Hulk keeps Banner in the trunk.
Scary thought.
That's kind of the way things are at the top of this story, because when initially he didn't get pushed into the ship. If you read the prelude to Planet Hulk, he was like in Vancouver, basically hiding out, trying to stay away from the world.
Yeah.
And they asked him to go up and S.H.I.E.L.D. asked him to go up and do this mission in space. The Illuminati took that opportunity to ship him to to the far off reaches of space, off Earth is what happened. So he was intelligent. The Hulk was intelligent enough to be able to complete a mission for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay. Now, at this point in time, as he's on this planet, the Hulk remains the Hulk, okay? There's no sign of Banner throughout this story, except for one instance, which is, it happens in the middle, but it's only for a brief second, if not just one panel. However, the Hulk is now, like I said, in this weakened state. He's sold into slavery in order to compete in an arena for the entertainment against other slaves, all for the enjoyment of the Emperor, the Red King, and his people. Now, in order to keep him under control, the Emperor had him and other slaves implanted with what they call an obedience disc that shocks them into submission. Now, trial after trial, the Hulk survives and makes a few friends along the way. And I'm going to do my best to kind of describe who these friends are. We have Korg, who is this massive rock-like being, similar, I would say, to the size of the Hulk. Big dude. We have an alien being just called Brood. I first heard of the Brood from the X-Men titles. Alien-like, I don't know. I don't know if they have wings. I can't remember if they have wings or not, but the big sharp teeth, scary looking, scaly, alien. We have a pink-skinned native by the name of Ski, a gray-skinned shadow warrior by the name of, I'm going to do my best here, Heroim. We also have a native by the name of Lo, who's in the arena with Hulk and them as well. And Hulk's first friend that he made during the arena battle, a four-armed bug-like creature.
Yeah.
A guy by the name of, I'm going to pronounce it as Meek. How's that? Are you guys going to call him Mike?
Nope.
Okay, we're going to call him
I won't
Meek.
call him Mike. I want to be like Mike.
Of course you would.
I want to be like Mike.
I'm going to call him Jeff.
Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
All right, so anyway, yeah, Meek, four-armed bug-like creature. Kind of reminds me of Jar Jar Binks, just a little bit more ferocious.
Oh, so you mean he ruined the whole entire series?
He didn't ruin the whole entire series. No, he did not.
Jar Jar Binks is the most evil Sith Lord there is.
Moving on. So in response to the fact that, the Red King that sees the Hulk, prevail, he institutes a new plan, and that's to put the Hulk and his band of warrior friends into servitude to entertain the Empire, again, by making the Hulk and the others face multiple threats over and over. And by the second issue, word has gotten around of Hulk's apparent bravery and strength and has inspired some rebels to seek his assistance. When the rebels show up, the Hulk plainly rejects joining them and says, no way, no thank you. And not too long after the Hulk was approached by the rebellion, a lieutenant to the Emperor, a female by the name of, here we go, Kyra, I'm just going to go with that, is also shows up, and she's like the shadow bodyguard. Not if you look at her and you look at Heroim, they're of the same species, I guess you would say. But anyway, she shows up and she's asking the Hulk for, look, come with us. Work for the Empire. Don't be a slave anymore. And he's like, no, thank you. I've heard that before. She promises him peace. You can go out into the steppes, a place of peace, and nobody will bother you. And he's like, no, thanks. No, thanks. Obviously, her intent is to get the Hulk to go with them. That way there would be less dissent amongst the Empire's people. Now, without the Hulk's allegiance, the next arena battle was sabotaged by the Red King, who decided to drop a large-ass bomb right on top of them. Along with, without regard for the people that were in the arena or the participants. And the Hulk was able to jump up, grab it, and detonate the bomb above the arena, seemingly sacrificing himself above the stadium, saving its people. Now, still alive, the Hulk is sort of enraged, but the Emperor's men are able to subdue him and his band of surviving warriors again. Now, while mourning over the loss of S.H.I.E.L.D, the Shadow Warrior Heroim decides to make a pact amongst them all, and they soon become the Warbound. After this horrific display in the arena, the Emperor has one more trick up his sleeve. He is going to institute an arena fight against a recently captured powerful being known as the Silver Savage. And we learn that this is in actuality the Silver Surfer. Now, during the ferocious battle that ends when the Silver Surfer is knocked unconscious, Silver Surfer's obedience disc is destroyed. Now, the stipulations of this battle were that if the Warbound beat the Silver Surfer, their freedom would be granted. However, a twist occurs, believe it or not, when Kyra shows up and states that their freedom will be granted provided they kill some traitors first. And they bring the traitors forth. One of those traitors is Lo, who was recently captured during the Rebel invasion.
What a twist.
What a twist. The Warbound refused. They're not going to kill one of their friends. Just as the Emperor raises their wands to activate the obedience discs, the discs all explode off of Hulk and the rest of their the participants, thanks to the Silver Surfer and the Power Cosmic. Now, being freed, the Warbound escape the arena and head to the woodlands outside of the town. After the fray, the Silver Surfer offers to take the Hulk back to Earth, but the Hulk declines, since now he feels very much at home on Sakaar. All right, there it is. 5-minute recap of the first 4 issues. Teasley, did you have something you liked? Did you have something you didn't like? Questions? What's your thoughts, man?
Well, we'll start with I didn't have much to say about the first issue, except you get to see toward the end when they're getting taken to the I guess it's the gladiator training grounds. Mm-hmm. You get to see in the last couple panels, you get to see the Savage Hulk, the one that enjoys the chaos and the fighting and everything, that because his friend is spazzing out, all worried and everything, and he just looks up and says, "This is going to be fun." I mean, that's what I took out of the first issue, because you get you're setting up, you're kind of setting the tone for the 4 issues that I'm covering. The second is more, I liked it because it goes into you get to see the band of merry misfits that they become, kind of joining forces. The because they actually have to fight together, and none of them really want to be a team and kind of watch each other's back, but they know that eventually they're going to have to fight together and then may have to turn on each other.
Mm-hmm.
What was great about the third issue, I think it was in the third issue, is the on the links you sent me, it's got the throwback when they're giving all their backstories. It's got the throwback to the old drawing style when the guys the rock guys talking about how
I know what you're talking
encountered
about.
A human, and it ends up being Thor. And he says that at a young age he encountered this person that vanquished the entire army, leaving him and one other alive. He said, "Oh, he was a god among us," or something along those lines. And it's Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And and I love the background that it gave in that issue. I mean, it showed the character depth. You start getting a little sympathetic and a little bit more involved in the characters once you get those little backstories. I mean, because the first two issues, I was like, okay, this is going to be, they're setting something up, for these characters not to really be a force. They're going to have, I was reading it because I went into it as a blank slate. So I was kind of following the narrative of, they're going to have to be together, but they're going to have to turn on each other too, just like they thought. Getting the feel for the backstory and caring about the characters, I kind of really like the fourth issue. Well, the end of the third issue, I messaged you on this, Jesse. And the fourth issue, I was like, I mean, this is one of the first times in a long time that I have been genuinely shocked. Something I'm reading in a comic book, and I messaged Jesse. I go, "Holy balls, it's the Silver Surfer." He's like, "Yep." He's like, "Yep, it is." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So that added a whole new layer to me reading it, because, like I said, I'm reading this for the first time. I mean, I have the DVD here, and I've never really took time to sit down and watch it. So reading it now, it makes me want to go watch the DVD. And I had that, I guess, that childlike nostalgia back when I started first reading comics. And I look forward, as anybody has listened to me on here before knows, that Maximum Carnage is what got me into becoming a comic book person, because I started reading it. And if you haven't, go back and listen to me, Jesse, and Benjamin J. Killen cover it in the archive. But it gave me the childlike nostalgia of, now I want to read the story, to continue reading the story, because I generally am interested in this. I'm invested in the characters. I'm invested in the storyline and everything. And these 4 issues help set that up. It kind of took me a little bit by surprise how the Silver Surfer twist, and how the Hulk remembers meeting him for the first time, saying that, I seen you and I just wanted to grab you out of the air and beg you to take me away somewhere where I could be at peace. And the Silver Surfer says, "Well, I can do that now." And he goes, "No, I kind of feel like I found where I need to be."
Yeah.
So it was a nice little twist, because he told Silver Surfer upon their first encounter, he wanted to get away from everything. And Silver Surfer says, "Well, I know that now. I didn't know that then, but I know it now. So I can give you that peace now." It's basically saying, I can give you everything you've ever wanted. And the betrayal that the Hulk has had with those same words, he's leery, and he's formed a bond with this band of misfits.
Yeah.
So that's what I liked about the first 4 issues.
I just watched the Planet Hulk DVD, the Planet Hulk movie. There are some stark differences between the Planet Hulk storyline and that. Not to, Meek plays a huge part of this. I guess we'll talk about that at some point tonight. The role Meek plays in both the development of the story, and he really has his own agenda throughout this. I mean, he's out to kill the pink skins, and that doesn't come into play at all during the movie. Yeah,
it really does.
His character is really minimized to the point where there was almost no point in having him there. It's the Planet Hulk movie. It's okay, but they cut out a lot of what makes the story interesting. I mean, they just kind of left it as Hulk shows up, Hulk fights, Hulk gets his freedom. It's worth watching, but it doesn't really do the best job of doing the whole storyline justice.
Okay. Silver Surfer pop up?
No.
Kidding. No, they do that bit, but they don't use the Silver Surfer. They use a different character.
I want to tell you who it is.
Okay, well, don't spoil it. Teasley hasn't watched it. I don't want to spoil it.
No, you can tell me it because I'm more. If it's a stark difference from the book,
it's Beta Ray Bill.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's different, huh?
Yeah, he beats the fuck out of Horseface, man. He really.
Well,
what's Sarah Jessica Parker got to do with this?
Well, I was just looking at. What did I do? I hopped on here just to see if I could find some Hulk Silver Surfer battles that's happened in the past. I think they've met in the past, clearly, but I don't know if they've ever really like straight up fought like they have in this arena. Well,
they were contemporaries in the Defenders.
Well, like the fourth hit down on Google is a post that completely says the Silver Surfer would absolutely annihilate the Hulk. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's got the power cosmic and all that. I don't know if that's maybe why they went. I doubt it. They probably just wanted to throw in some spice into the DVD or the movie itself. But, Hulk beating the crap out of the Silver Surfer, it was a good battle. Don't get me wrong. And I don't know if
they make a point to say that anyone that comes through that wormhole is severely weakened.
That's true.
And it takes a while for them to regain their strength. And the Hulk, I think, regains his strength faster than others because he's the Hulk and he happens to be able to regenerate and get stronger that much faster.
Do you think that they substituted Silver Surfer out of the animated movie simply due to licensing reasons?
Yeah.
Considering that
I almost guarantee you they did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Fox owns the rights to Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer. So, I mean, does a show like Reed Richards and all that in the beginning of the movie?
Those shows like Iron Man. It just shows a few of them.
So you know what? It shows Iron Man and then a bunch of silhouettes.
I mean, I'm going to guess
your imagination.
I'm going to guess it's license reasons that's why they went that route. They couldn't get the licensing agreement from Fox to allow them to include Silver Surfer and be, stay true to source material.
Hey, that's right. 2 points on what you were talking about there earlier, Teasley, I just want to kind of bring up. I guess, number one, you talked about the point where Hulk said, okay, I'm just going to stick around here. The Hulk is so twofold. Yeah, I want to be left alone. Don't bother me. But what does the Hulk do best? He fights and he smashes. And I wonder if the reason that he wanted to stick around was because he was loving what he was doing on that planet. And I think, at one point, when he looked out from the cell or whatever he was in, when he goes, yeah, this is going to be fun. I think he loves being in this place and the challenge that are being brought forth to him. And then, going off to a planet of uninhabited or to where you're just going to be left alone. To me, I can tell you right now, just myself, that wouldn't be very much fun.
The Hulk is a manifestation of a personality that was deep inside Banner that was released. Basically, his rage. Mm-hmm. But do you think that there's a sliver that does want that peace, but the majority of the Hulk psyche means that he needs the chaos, the violence, and everything, so he has purpose?
Well, I don't think Hulk had any challenges left on Earth. And everywhere he went, he destroyed things. And, this is the first time Hulk's been challenged. When was the last time Hulk was in chains?
Yeah.
They put him in chains that are made of this material that he can't break. He's got this obedience disc on. This is the first. I mean, part of the reason they did the Planet Hulk storyline, I think, was they'd overpowered the Hulk to the point where he had no challenges left. It was why they did like the Future Imperfect storyline and why they've, done different things with him up to this point, because it was like, what do you do with a monster who, can crack the planet in half, literally? So they put him on another planet and they just got him off of Earth entirely, and they made it so that he could be challenged. It's the old wrestling type. Everyone take a drink. It's the old wrestling thing. Your overpowered good guy doesn't sell tickets. He has to fight from underneath. You have to give him a challenge.
Okay. So basically, Hulk needed a purpose, thus the chaos and war and the fighting. They needed to make the Hulk feel like he still had a purpose to be in the comics. so they had to challenge him,
Yes.
thus taking him to a different territory. Yeah, see, I'll slip a wrestling reference in as well. Different surroundings. Therefore, they can use, because you in space you have a vast array of imagination to create creatures that can challenge the Hulk. Like you said, on Earth, he became such a dominant force that he was pretty much the end-all be-all dominant figure in the comic book universe. So.
All right, a second thing, and I want to get Ronnie in on this discussion here real quick. Ronnie?
Yeah?
Who's your favorite, other than the Hulk, who's your favorite of the Warbound?
Probably the Rock dude, Korg.
Korg?
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I think I would have went there, too.
Can I offer you a little bit of trivia?
Sure.
Sure.
Korg and his people were actually in one of the Thor movies.
Really?
I did not know that.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's in the Dark World.
Wasn't it?
Yep, it was in the Dark World.
Huh. Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's continue amongst, as we continue through this journey on Planet Hulk. Get my notes here. So, yeah, Teasley, we talked about Exile. Now we're getting into a 4-issue story arc called Anarchy. So during the Hulk's stay on Sakaar, so far, there has been a telling of a legend by the name of the Sakaar son, destined to save the planet. And also, there's a legend of what they call the World Breaker, who is destined to destroy it. And it is believed that the Hulk may be one of those legends. Now, meanwhile, plants are actually growing. When I say plants, I'm talking about vines growing from the spilled blood left by the Hulk in the sands of the Great Arena. And slaves around are beginning to rejoice. Now, Meek, the four-armed bug of the Warbound, undergoes a transformation after revisiting a village that his hive and father were slaughtered at years before. The other members of the Hulk's crew advise Meek to let the old crimes go in order to try and form new allies against the Empire. However, Meek demands justice and engages in battle with the village headman. Meek even cuts off one of his own arms to get the upper hand, but he could not deliver the death blow and allows the headman to live. Shortly after the battle, Hulk's team discovers that the villagers were actually hiding Meek's surviving many brothers deep underground, and they were using his brothers as slaves. This obviously enrages Meek, and now freed, the hivelings all hail Meek as their hero. And the Hulk and his crew, in retaliation, actually destroy the village as retribution. Meanwhile, the Emperor's shadow bodyguard, Lieutenant Kyra, the Old Strong, begins to bear witness to the insanity of the Red King as she watches him slaughter citizens who are beginning to believe more and more in the Green Scar. That's the nickname they got going around for the Hulk. The Emperor calls for the Hulk's head and orders Kyra to bring it to him. Hulk fears that his capacity for destruction has reached its apex and prepares to actually leave the Warbound. He feels that he's better off left to leave them alone while he's left alone as well. Meek, who has been newly transformed into a giant hive king, levels his spear, determined to make the Hulk stay. They battle. They tussle. And as the Hulk gets the upper hand and begins to swing a devastating blow, Korg, the great rock warrior, steps up and takes the blow to stop the fight. The team then split into two, with the Hulk apparently accepting his savage destiny, traveling with Meek and Ello to fight the Emperor's forces, while Korg and Hyroim lead the refugees into the steppes to escape into a land of peace. Back on Imperial territory, Kyra catches up with the Hulk, and a great battle ensues. Kyra welded her earth-shattering old powers, and their clash sent earthquakes as far as the steppes, but their final confrontation was interrupted by the arrival of a horrifying enemy from the past, known as the Spikes. And that's where we leave Anarchy. And Ronnie Adams, man, stuff's starting to hit the fan. Kyra and the Hulk, they're getting into fisticuffs.
Yep.
So what's your thoughts here, man?
One thought was the only thing I could think of, during, the whole gladiator thing was, do you like gladiator movies, Joey?
You ever seen a grown man naked?
The main thing that I want to point out, the similarities between this and Spartacus.
Okay.
Because he rises up and becomes a hero to these people when all he wants to do is just live, and there's really no reason for him to be there. He's imprisoned wrongly and has to stay there. And that's what caught my whole attention beforehand, was the fact that there was so many correlations to the story of Spartacus in this. so far, I mean, through the whole thing, the whole book, the first part of it, and this has kept me truly intrigued. So I've enjoyed I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed going back through it and everything. I don't have much to say other than that.
What do you think of the spikes, dude? You want to do your best to kind of describe what the spikes are?
That's a hard one because, well, it's almost like a virus, a plant that just works its way into its host. What's a parasite?
Yeah,
and then unfortunately it does work its way out. So
these things are nasty. I mean,
yeah.
I put here at the end to make sure I describe what the spikes were. I mean, we have the Emperor and his threat, but these spikes show up and they are ravenous to where, I mean, they just take over. I'm trying to think of a good analog, like in film, almost kind of like, I don't want to call it the Blob because it's not one.
I was trying to think of one too, and I really couldn't.
Yeah, these things, I guess, just like you said, they inhabit the person, and then they become like this malformed image of what they were.
Yeah,
and so it just continues to populate and propagate its army as it goes out and transforms many others into.
So kind of like zombies.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Well, yeah.
There's a bite, and then they turn into a zombie, and it just continues to create more. And the plant thing is, I think, important. You mentioned that one of the ways that they try to fight these things off is with fire. Apparently, that's one defense against the spikes, but I said it's an enemy from the past. The land hasn't seen these spikes in quite a while, so when they show up, it's a bad omen, number one, that these spikes have shown up, and how are they going to fight them? That's obviously the big question that we have. It's clear. I don't know if it's at the end of the 4th issue of Anarchy or if it starts in this next series, but we learned that Kyra had a history with these things where her village or her people were killed by these spikes, and she was lucky enough to live. So she's got a bit of a history with these things too. So let's go into the next 4 parts, which is Allegiance. Now these issues, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think I said this at the beginning. This story takes place over Incredible Hulk 92 through 105. I want to say 92.
Yeah, it started at 92.
92.
First one. Yeah, Exile 1 was issue 92.
Okay, all the way up to issue 105. So like I said, each one's divided into 4 parts, 3 4-part stories, and then a 2-part at the end. So we're in the pretty getting close to the climax and the ending act here with Allegiance. So Meek rescues a queen of his species. This is something that kind of happens before the spikes hit. He rescues a queen of his species. Now, I want you to think of who Meek. I want to make sure our listeners understand what Meek is. He is definitely like a bug. There's hives involved in his species and all this, and there's a queen that gives birth to, I'm sure, like hundreds or thousands of eggs. Anyway, he rescues this queen of his species, and it's one of the last of his species alive. And he rescues them from, again, some villagers, some pink-skinned villagers that actually had enslaved her and were eating her eggs. Now, when the spikes arrive, she becomes infected, and Meek has to make the tough decision to actually kill her, damning his own species to extinction. Meanwhile, Hulk's army then split again as Meek and Elo head for Crown City, while Hulk, Kyra, and Heroim, the 2 shadow people, travel with Hulk across the sands to seek out the elders of the shadow people in the hope that they would aid in their battle against the Emperor. Now, while at the elders, the Hulk reveals his true intention was to actually grab a great stone ship, which he then used to defeat the Red King's Imperial forces. What was so important about that ship? It contained the leaders of the infectious spikes. Hulk relied on Meek's and Brood's chemming powers. This is used throughout the story. Chemming, CHEMMING. It's kind of like, I guess, a psychic link to other species who have this. He relies on their chemming powers to garner a truce between the spikes and the Warbound, the terms of which at this point were unknown. So the spikes are now helping out the Warbound against the Emperor and his forces. As they go towards Crown City, they cut the power off, but the Red King was able to energize his gladiator armor before the city's power was severed, and was moments from actually incinerating Elo until Hulk arrived with an army of his new allies, the Spikes. Now, during the great battle between the Hulk and the Red King, the Hulk becomes victorious and liberates the planet from the oppressive Emperor. Now the Hulk has found himself in an odd situation he has not been in before, a position as a leader of people. Also, this position is coming at a cost, as the parasitic spikes agreed to help on the one condition that they be allowed to drain energy from Hulk's gamma-irradiated body. Taking Kyra as his wife, the Hulk rules and attempts to invoke a peaceful world. But for a creature who longs for nothing to be other than left alone, politics and monarchy cannot be enjoyable. And that's where we leave Allegiance. We get the big battle. The Emperor falls.
What I liked about this one was this is where the Red King reveals that he used the spike. The spikes didn't just come out of nowhere. He used the spikes to kill off the Old Strong because he needed one of the Old Strong to be his shadow.
I know he was I don't know if he was originally behind the attack of the spikes that resulted in Kyra becoming his shadow warrior, but we do know that for sure that he used them now as a weapon because he's responsible for unleashing the spikes against the Hulk and his army for sure. So he's had his dealings with them somehow.
Either way, it results in people just wanting to follow, more people wanting to follow the Hulk. It results in people seeing the Hulk as the Sakaar son because, the spikes kill you with one touch, and he's able to absorb all of these spikes, and he has stuff growing out of him. He just rips it off, and he gets burned is what happens.
Oh, yeah, dude. When he was infected, I was like, oh, man, how is he going to get past this?
And he gets burned. They burn him right off, and he just keeps on going. And people are like, "Wow, you're unstoppable. There's no reason why you can't take down the king."
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I like the way that this ended. Does this get into like them taking down the king and all of that? And then this is where I get the comic mixed up with the movie, because in the movie, the Hulk takes down the king, and Kyra goes to kill him, and she's like, "You know what? I'm not gonna kill you," and then she like subjects him to the spikes, and the spikes kill him.
I'm fairly certain. I'm gonna have to pull it up and double check and make sure. But I think the Hulk kicks his ass. I can't remember how he dies though. I'll look it up. But you go ahead and continue.
But yeah, I like the use of the spikes and everything. The Hulk and his Warbound make their last stand against the Red King, and of course they take the Red King down. Does it get much into the Hulk as king, or is that in the epilogue?
That's in our 2-part epilogue we're about to hit here.
Okay.
He kind of takes the throne. At the end of this, we're kind of left like, okay, what's the next step? The Red King's gone. Everybody's happy. Where do we go from here? So
that's really all I have to say about it. I mean, I remember thinking as I read it, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about the next 2 parts as well, because that's more of what stuck with me, was this idea of Hulk was finally home. There's been a few times in the Hulk's career, like when he was in the Microverse with Jarella, where he had the love of his life and he wasn't on the run anymore, and he wasn't being hunted, and he finally found his place only to have it taken from him. And you get when he becomes the king of Sakaar, you're relieved for the Hulk, which I liked. And then of course nothing ever good lasts forever with the Hulk.
Yeah.
As far as tragedy goes, the tragic character, he's right up there with Peter Parker.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, he can't find peace. It's like, and when he does have peace, something bad always happens, as we're about to find out. I'm going to share my screen here real quick, guys, and I'll show you the ending of where the Red King meets his maker, I guess you would say. So the Red King has that armor. I mean, the Red King's just a regular pink skin, I guess you would say, as they are calling him through.
He's Iron Man.
Yeah,
he's Iron Man basically.
He's got this great armor that needs to be charged in order and makes him this tremendous warrior. And so right here, the Hulk is just, by the way, just stop the Earth from exploding. Because the king hits this button and the Earth starts to tear apart, and the Hulk like jumps down in this magma-filled crevice, grabs the planet, and then brings it back together. Comes out of the planet, and then right there you can see. I mean, the Red King's getting ready to face this huge punch from the Hulk. He hits him right in the face, and that is the end of him. He goes flying. Oh wait, I think he's still alive. No, it's those bots, the Wildabots.
Right, the Wildabots finally take them down.
Yeah, the Wildabots. Now, didn't talk much about them. These guys are like, I don't know. They've terrorized the Outlands before. Like they kind of terrorize the citizens every once in a while, and they were out in the woods, and I think Hulk sent one of these robots out there to talk to him during this whole scuffle. But anyway, the Wildabots come back and they kill him. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's get in here. Let's finish this up. Emperor Hulk, now in charge. He does his best to repair the war-torn kingdom. And he's even able to return the parasitic spikes. Remember, he's got this truce with them since they helped him out. They aren't killing him, but they're feeding off of him. And what happens is they feed off him and then they go feed the rest of the spikes and they're happy. The way their origin is, I think they came from space. They fed off of cosmic material. Then they ended up crash landing here on this planet. And they've been a bane to the planet since then. But now the Hulk's around and he, even though it takes a good bit out of him, he's able to satiate these spikes' appetite. Now he's developed a plan, and he's able to actually send these spikes into outer space where they came from. So they're all excited about this. This is a win-win for everybody. Get the spikes off the planet. Spikes get to return to space. Now, shortly after that endeavor, Hulk comes back down to Earth, and the ship that carried the Hulk from our planet, the home planet Earth, and it crash landed on Sakaar, begins to deliver a warning signal so that any and all around it can hear. A warp core breach that is about to explode and potentially destroy the planet in the next few seconds. Luckily, the Hulk is able to get there and launch the ship into the sky, but it explodes seconds after leaving his hands, leveling the city, killing thousands, including his wife, Kyra, who dies in his arms.
With a baby in her belly.
Oh, that's right, because they do mention.
Spoiler alert.
I forgot, because
He is prego.
she looks right at him and says something about she was with child or something. So yeah, Hulk watches his family die in his arms. So the powerful
on tonight. Must have been something I said. Oh.
The powerful explosion. The powerful explosion begins to rip the planet apart. Magma, lava, boiling hot magma start to spew forth from the crevices.
Magma. Sorry.
Sharks with lasers on them.
It starts to spew forth from the crevices. It seems now this planet may soon meet its end. The remaining Warbound were able to secure a ship and find the Hulk, who is obviously very distraught about what just happened in front of him. And they convince him that they need to leave. When it is asked what the next destination of the Warbound will be, the Hulk knows exactly where they are headed.
Shit, it's on like Donkey Kong now.
A return trip back home to Earth. Woo!
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, Hulk is gonna kill you. Dude, World War Hulk is the best.
It is, dude. It really is a good story.
It's just 5 issues of the Hulk fucking everybody up.
So I take it I need to read it next.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you do. It is good. And like I was telling Ronnie before we got on here, before we went live, I read World War Hulk probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. No, I wouldn't say 10 years ago. It was probably about 5 years ago because I got it in trade from the library. I remember when I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, because it was just a page turner. When the Hulk fights, you know that it's going to be good. It usually, if you find a great artist that can convey what's going on in the battle, it's fun to read, much like what we saw here. I mean, this was nothing but Hulk fighting left and right, pretty much. But when he starts to face off with the heroes that sent him to Sakaar, and he clearly blames these people for the death of his wife and unborn son. Holy, it hits the fan. Mark, I know you said you kind of wanted to talk a little bit about parts, Armageddon here. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I think it's important to note that, you have these war-bound characters, these people that are bonded to the Hulk. They're about to follow him to Earth to fuck shit up. Really what's happened is he's been betrayed. He's been betrayed not by the humans, but by Meek. And this is what I mean by, his character was so minimized in the movie that, he plays such an important role here. Because the whole time, this is what I want to talk about. Meek is using the Hulk as an opportunity to take revenge on the Pinkskins. And he keeps having to be held back. He's like, but they've killed all my people. We're dead. We're not going to have any more hurtlings. We are the last of this species. And so I'm killing as many of these guys as I can. Like, he doesn't want peace. This was never about, like the other races are willing to take what's left of this planet and try to stitch it back together again into a sort of working environment. And Meek's like, nope, burn it all to the ground. Fuck all of it. And when and he's looking at the Hulk like he doesn't really see the Hulk as a hero, as a person. He sees the Hulk as an opportunity for revenge.
Yep.
And so when the Hulk is like, yeah, we're not gonna, it's like, we're not gonna have this constant civil war, and we're gonna bring civilization back to Sakaar. Meek's like, no, we're not neither. So he's like, okay, if I have to remind you of who you are and what you are by taking everything away from you again and reminding you that, of the humans who betrayed you, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, none of that had to happen. Meek set it all in motion, which is also the best part of World War Hulk.
I was going to say, did that happen? Is that clearly happen in this story where he betrays the Hulk? Because I might have missed it, but does it show that happen in the book?
I thought it did, but I might be thinking of World War Hulk when he
reveals?
Jason. Yeah, when he reveals himself to have betrayed the Hulk.
Okay. All right.
The Hulk was fucking crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in World War. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember there was one spot in the book where Meek and Brood, I think, end up in that ship, but I didn't catch anything going on that seemed hinky. Because shortly thereafter, they're at the Hulk's side. But I was trying to read this as best as I could and pay attention to exactly what was going on and read everything. But again, it happens to me all the time. I may miss something that's completely obvious. But anyway, okay. So anything else there, Mark Radulich?
Go read World War Hulk.
Ronnie Adams, what'd you think when you went back through this again? We just covered it here. What's your final thoughts?
I love it. Being a big fan of World War Hulk, this setup, you got to read this to set it up.
Yeah.
And it's a phenomenal story as far as, it's got everything. It's got love, it's got betrayal, it's got action, it's got Hulk smash. I mean, you can't really ask for anything more. Like I said, he's just a tragic character that all he wants is just to be left alone. He finally found a place that he could be happy. He found a woman, another woman that's taken away from him all too soon to love. They just, people won't leave him alone. They won't let him be happy. He wants peace, when it's all said and done.
I was really confused as to putting Hulk in the position of being a king and being an emperor. I'm like, the last thing that this guy wants is people bothering him.
Let me take issue with that because the Hulk wants to be left alone because people keep going after him and like shooting him with tanks. But really what the Hulk wants is to be loved. The Hulk wants to be accepted. The Hulk, the love of Hulk's life is Betty Banner and Betty Ross, and all he ever wanted to do is be with her, and people kept coming between them, namely her dad. When he was in the microverse, all he wanted was to be with Jarella, and that was taken from him. So it isn't so much that he wants to be left alone, it's that he wants people to stop fucking shooting at him.
Well, I mean, what more can you ask than that? Leave him alone, quit shooting at him.
But he doesn't necessarily want to be He
doesn't want to be lonely alone.
Yeah,
he wants to be left alone. He wants them to stop picking at him. All they're doing is poking the bear.
But okay, are you going to try and tell me that a position of emperor or king is the right spot for someone like the Hulk?
Absolutely, because he's going to rule with an iron fist, and they're not going to bother him anyway.
Negative.
All the Hulk needs is a good queen.
Right.
No way, dude. And I'll tell you why. I will tell you why. Yeah, he'll rule with an iron fist, but the man will go berserk at the first hint of betrayal.
Stop it. Okay. Well, that's evident because he gets on a spaceship and goes to declare war on Earth. So good point there. But I think in the little bits that he got to be king, he was showing himself to be a wise and proper king.
But there was that moment where he had Kyra by his side, and he looked at her and he said, "Let's just go." Let's leave.
Yeah, he's afraid, dude. For the majority of Hulk and Banner's existence, they've been hunted.
Yeah.
Nothing good has ever happened to them. And so he's like, you know what? Someone's going to pull the rug, and he ended up being right. Someone's going to pull the rug out from under us. Let's just get out of here. And she's like, no, it's going to be fine. And it might have been, except Meek's a fucker, and they should have killed him in the arena.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Jason Teasley.
Hey.
Are you going to... you've got to sit through and hear us talk about Planet Hulk, a little bit about World War Hulk. You said this is your first real dive into reading a story about the Hulk. I mean, you're familiar with the character, but have you ever read anything else?
My knowledge of the Hulk, straight correlation of whatever Mark Radlish tells me.
Okay.
I mean, from the comic book side, I am familiar, but me and Mark have talked in the past about Hulk story arcs, and he's gave me recommendations to read, such as Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, and everything.
The Spy Who Smashed Me.
Well, that just sounds like some cheap porno that was made in the 80s. But anyway, we won't go into that. That sounds like a porn parody of Austin Powers.
We won't go into that. Means we won't go into that.
The Spy Who Smashed Me is phenomenal.
And it's also a porn parody of Austin Powers. But anyway, I'm more familiar with the crossovers that, Hulk showed up in, but the extension of my honest comic book knowledge of the Hulk came in conversations with you guys and primarily Mark.
Okay. All right. So Mark, where would you rate Planet Hulk? You want to give us a top 10 or top 5? Where would you rate Planet Hulk in your Hulk stories that you really enjoy?
Oh, it's like the top 2 or 3.
Okay.
I mean,
well, he's only named 3 that I should read. So
Well, there's some Hulk moments out there. I know of a few storylines that involve the Hulk, but none to this magnitude that I really wanted to get my hands on and read. Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to say, Jesse and I last year, I think, talked Future Imperfect.
That was a good one.
That was a fun Hulk story.
Yeah.
Again, if you, in terms of story arcs or trades, a lot of stuff that follows World War Hulk is really great. Like the whole fall of the Hulks, World War Hulks, a lot of the stuff involving the Red Hulk and the Red She-Hulk, which is partially the Spy Who Smashed Me. If you go back years before that, you had the whole Professor and the Pantheon storyline. There's some really good Hulk stuff out there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up, see if there's a list of Hulk trade paperbacks, see if anything catches my fancy. There's Crushing Crisis with a K.com says collecting Incredible Hulk comic books as graphic novels, has a good list here. A lot of omnibuses, I would definitely, like I said, I would definitely try to get your hands on the issues where he's the professor. Definitely read Future Imperfect, World War Hulk, Fall of the Hulks, World War Hulks, Hulk No More. Those are all good. Don't read Hulk versus Thanos. That sucked.
Oh, that's sad.
That was the worst.
Oh, figured that'd be a good battle book.
Nope. That
negative.
That had a nihilist in it, and it might as well have been. It was more about Hulk versus a nihilist than it was Thanos.
They played chess.
What?
I'm kidding.
Okay. I almost
would that not be one of the ultimate troll jobs of a comic book? Build up to something and then have them play chess or something.
Oh man, and I'll tell you, I'm looking at World War Hulk right now, and I remember this was John Romita Jr. art.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm looking. There's some nice looking stuff here. Well, that's next on the agenda at some point, Mark Radlich. We got to do World War Hulk. So not too bad. 14 issues in an hour and a half. When me and Teasley, Benjamin J. Cologne did Maximum Carnage, and I think it was almost 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
But, it was insane. We did it in two installments. Well, that's good. We did good here. So let's go ahead. We'll get into plugs. Teasley, are you doing anything here?
I'm currently sitting in my oversized recliner, watching football, and that's pretty much the only thing I get done anymore because, the married life has subdued me into becoming a housewife. So outside of that, no, I'll pop up on Twitter every now and then and chime in on something one of you guys posts, but that's pretty much the extent of my social media these days. I'm kind of getting burnout on it because anytime you log into Facebook and everything, as a post that I made earlier can attest, everything turns political, and I tend to piss people off. I know it's such a surprise me upsetting someone.
Surprise.
I mean, but
all right.
I mean, outside of that, I mean, I follow you guys and chime in every so often.
Jason Teasley, thanks for being on here tonight. Glad to have you back on here. I look forward. We got to do World War Hulk at some point, so please, you get the opportunity.
I currently I have a lot of free time.
All right.
Because I'm a housewife currently due to circumstances beyond my control.
Uh-huh.
I have a lot of free time to, between, doing my wifely duties and so.
Well, good. We'll schedule something out.
We'll have you back on when we do The Spy Who Smashed Me.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, there'll be a lot of porno references then.
That's what I was going to say. So I can make a lot of inappropriate porn references.
No.
But I'm glad you guys had me on. I mean, it's been great. I think it's the first time I've done a podcast with Mark since about a year and a half.
Dang, dude.
It's good talk. It's good talking to me. I think the last one I did with Mark was the album. So that's how long it's been since I've got the podcast with Mark. So
we'll get back in touch.
It's been fun. Yeah, hit me up. I became a fat old guy that just sits in a recliner all day.
All right, we'll do. Mark Radulich, let's get some plugs done, man. What do you got?
Well, depending on when you're listening to this, as usual, tomorrow night on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, Robert Winfrey and Robert Cooper, presumably, will be on a TV party tonight to discuss Voltron Season 4, which just dropped this past Friday. Jesse will be discussing his favorite band in the world on Wednesday, the Marilyn Manson Heaven Upside Down Cake. If you're listening to this on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, then this Tuesday is Damn You Hollywood Geostorm, Robert Winfrey's favorite movie of this year.
Yeah.
And
he has been griping about that since it was announced. I cannot wait.
Yep. On the Metal Hammer of Doom, we'll be discussing the new Stray from the Path. Presumably, we'll be doing an on-trial for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Our last one for Blade Runner, we didn't do it on Thursday. We tried to do it on Saturday, and then something went kaflooey on Sean's side, and he couldn't dial into the show. Last week, if you're interested, we have a Damn You Hollywood for Blade Runner 2049. And Jesse and I discussed the aforementioned Cradle of Filth and Ronnie's favorite T-shirt that has the back that says...
No, don't say it.
That's a lot of sighing. All right, so that's all I got right now. Guys, it's been a small slice of heaven. I'm going to bed. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, man. Talk to you later.
Later, man.
Ronnie.
Yeah.
Tell me all about it.
We have a show. There is evidence of that. It is on iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn. It's called the Scream Boy Podcast, where we talk about nerd culture and anything, you just have to be a fan of something, and then we can call you a nerd.
I tease you, but you are making your return, man. I saw it.
We are returning very soon. We're planning the show out, as you know. We're going to be planning the show out, but the big thing is, depending on when you listen to this, we'll just give you dates. October the 21st and 22nd, I will be in Fayetteville, North Carolina, representing the Scream Boy Podcast, and where I'm representing him at the show at will be the Fayetteville Comic-Con. I had the pleasure of going to the Greensboro Comic-Con, the very first one in Greensboro, and was a part of a trivia contest called Nerd Slam. And circumstances pointed out to where I should have won the round I was in, but did not. So therefore, they gave me a second chance. Not a second chance, but they gave me a what's it called? A compilation prize or whatever it's called.
Yeah, a consolation prize.
Consolation prize. Compilation is when a couple of people work on something together.
How about a constellation?
Or different works together. Constellation stars, my friend. They gave me a weekend pass to the Fayetteville Comic-Con. So I will be representing us there. That will be a lot of fun. And then November the 11th and 12th, I do believe, is the 11th, 10th and 11th, 10th through the 12th. I'm sorry, it's a 3-day affair. I will be in Durham, North Carolina at the North Carolina Comic-Con. So it's a 3-day event. where there will be, a lot of things going on. They have a gala at Saturday night, which you can go and cosplay or whatever, but it's basically a big club kind of atmosphere, dance party kind of thing. They're showing older movies all weekend, such as Blade, Terminator, Adventures in Babysitting, Godzilla versus King Kong, and a few others that I can't remember right now. But I'm really excited about watching Godzilla versus King Kong with like-minded people. One of the most interesting things that's going on is that Rob Liefeld will be there.
Yeah.
Meeting people and signing autographs, I suppose. I do want to get his infamous picture of Captain America printed off, so see if he will sign it for me. The one where Captain America has a chest that you could set a dinner plate on.
Oh, jeez.
He probably won't, and I will probably be removed forcibly from the con, but it'll be worth it. And at the Fayetteville Comic Con, I will have a chance to meet Sam Jones, who played Flash Gordon in Flash Gordon in the 80s, and Lou Ferrigno. So that will be very cool. Yeah.
Speaking of the Incredible Hulk.
Right. So that we've got some cool stuff going on there. So the entire time I'm at the Fayetteville Con and the North Carolina Comic Con, I will be doing live updates from the Screaming Boy, either Instagram or Facebook page. Keep an eye on, it will probably be Facebook Live. So keep an eye on us on social media. I will be tweeting and letting people know where we're coming from as far as that goes, live updates. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shortly after that, or before that, we will have, definitely after Fayetteville, definitely before the Durham Con, we will be having our comeback show, and that will be out very soon. So we've got some big things planned for the old Screaming Boy podcast.
Awesome. I look forward to it, dude. Again, thank you for coming on here and enduring
Always, man.
Mark Radulich giving you a hard time and me just popping right on the back. Doing the same thing.
You know how that goes.
Me and Justin Thomas tried to do a commentary on Friday the 13th, part 1, this past Friday, on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's the thing.
Which I tweeted out from the show and put on Instagram that it was Friday the 13th, near Halloween. And if Jason Voorhees wasn't a part of your day, then you were very wrong. You guys went to the next level.
We did, as a matter of fact.
It's amazing.
We watched... it was so funny. This is how it went down. I watched that movie for the first time in my entire life. So I'd never seen part 1 ever.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, dude. I've never seen Friday the 13th part 1 ever. Now I know all about the twist ending, and I know all about
twist.
What a twist. I know a good portion of the movie just because of pop culture itself.
Sure.
But it was so funny because I reached out to Justin and I said, hey, you want to do a podcast tonight? He's like, sure. What are we going to do it on? I said, well, how do you feel about doing a commentary? Well, no, it didn't even get that far. I said, what are you doing right now? And he says, I'm about ready to watch Friday the 13th, part 2. And I said, do you want to do a commentary on part 1? And he goes, you mean watch the same thing I just got done watching again? He was going to try and marathon all of the Friday the 13th. And so I said, yeah. I said, let's do a commentary on it. Well, okay. So that funny bit aside, I have grown to realize now that it's probably not a good idea for me to do commentaries on movies I have not seen. Because I am deathly silent trying to
figure it out. Yeah.
Watch the movie. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying. I'm like, it's not even a commentary anymore. It's just listen to some guy breathe right while he's watching the movie. So we cut up throughout the movie, but I mean, still, every once in a while, aside from getting warnings from Google that I'm streaming content that I'm not authorized to stream, I would be like, okay, Justin, what's going on here? And I mean, I don't know if that's going to air fully on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. I will tell you this much, though. I think I may try something different and do what I'm going to term right now as a condensed commentary. Okay. Maybe 45 minutes. That's what I want to try and cap it at. 45 minutes, and you can just listen to me and Justin cut up about the movie as we watch it. So it's going to be kind of like, we'll be talking a little bit about the movie, and then at some point we went off on ponchos. Everybody in that whole damn movie wore ponchos, and they all had different color ponchos. So that became a large discussion. Like, what are you doing with your poncho? Pick your poncho up. Don't put your poncho on the floor. Obviously, you're going to die. You don't have a poncho on. Yeah, it got goofy like that. So I can't sit here and say that I'm extremely proud of that commentary. But I will tell you that at some point, I'm going to edit the crap out of it, and we're going to have what I'm going to call condensed commentary hit the airwaves. We'll see how it goes. It may fall flat on its face. I don't care, but it's going to get out there. So anyway, we did that on the 13th. You can go back in the archives, check out any of the old source materials. We're at over like 100, and we're encroaching on 140 here pretty soon.
Nice.
It's going to be happening. But yeah, I'm not really going to plug much else. You know, you find me here on the Rattlich and Broadcasting Network, usually on the Metal Hammer of Doom. Did I tell you, Ronnie, that my wife, I opened a Metal Hammer of Doom with this one night. Okay. So it's Wednesday night. My wife, you know, says, "What you got a podcast tonight?" You know, and the snide remark way that she does usually because she's jealous. But I said, "Yes, I do have a podcast tonight. I have a podcast every Wednesday night." She goes, "What? Well, why every Wednesday?" I said, "I'm on the Metal Hammer of Doom every Wednesday night."
You don't even know me.
And I said, "I've been doing this for the past year and a half. Every Wednesday, I go down to the computer and set it in the computer. And not only that, but I share the show that I'm a part of. She gets notifications on her phone that say,
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be part of a podcast. And she looks at me and she goes, "What, you're a Metal Hammer of Doom guy now?" I've been that for a year. A year. Well, anyway, you know, you'll have that. Just like Teasley's got a rude awakening coming. If he hasn't already woke up now, he got married. She's going to forget about you before long. She won't even know what you're doing every Wednesday night when you go down to the basement. She'll have no idea. All right. So anyway, yeah, I'm part of the Rattlich Broadcasting Network. You can hear me right here on Source Material. You can hear me on Metal Hammer of Doom, usually every Wednesday. And then Screaming Boy, every once in a while I'll pop up on there. I'm usually welcome over there. So, but other than that, I don't know if there's much else you can catch me on unless I'm making guest appearances, like on Kapow, the Pop Culture Podcast. I've been over there a couple times, and I think that's about it. I don't know if I've been on any other podcast here in a while, but I'm at Stiznarkey on Twitter. You can follow the Source Material Podcast Twitter at SourceMattCast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get out of here. Have a good one.
This is Planet Hulk, ba 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 da ba ba ba, calling Planet Hulk, da 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 da. Little intro music for you.
Yeah, no kidding. We didn't even have to. I don't even have to go to YouTube to search that now.
Exactly.